They kicked me out of the family with a vote. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I just handed them a folder full of the secrets they never thought I'd expose. What followed shattered every fake smile, every lie they built their lives around. And when they tried to pull me back, I walked away for good. Not out of anger, but for the first time, for me. This story isn't about revenge. It's about what happens when the quiet one finally stops playing along. Watch until the end. Because peace doesn't always come with forgiveness. Sometimes it comes with letting go. I knew something was off the second I walked through the door. The air was thick with too much cologne and forced smiles. My sister Natalie stood near the head of the table, wineglass in hand, practically vibrating with anticipation. I hadn't even taken off my coat before she smirked and said, "Glad you could make it, Daniel. We're just about to start." Thanksgiving dinner at our parents' house had always been a tense affair, but this year felt choreographed. Everyone was here. Joel, her husband, my parents, Aunt Sandra, even Uncle Rick, who usually skipped holidays unless there was money involved. I took a seat at the end of the table, barely speaking, trying to stay neutral. I'd learned over the years that silence was my best armor. But that night, it didn't matter, because Natalie stood up, cleared her throat dramatically, and said, "Before we eat, I think it's time we vote." I looked up. "Vote?" "Yes," she said, grinning like a politician about to win in a landslide. "A family vote, to decide whether or not Daniel remains part of this family." Laughter. Cheers. My mother let out a soft chuckle and raised her glass. My father just nodded, eyes low. I scanned the room, confused. "What are you talking about?" Joel chimed in. "Come on, man. Don't make it weird. You know you've been distant." "I work. I help pay Dad's medical bills. I send money every month." Natalie rolled her eyes. "We all know you think you're better than us. This is just a formality, really." And then, every single person at that table raised their hand. Even my mother. Even my father. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I reached into my coat, pulled out a thick black folder, and placed it directly in the center of the table. "What's that?" Natalie asked, still smirking. "You wanted a vote," I said calmly. Then opened the ballot box. They all stared at it like it might explode. "Go ahead," I said. "I think you'll find it enlightening." And then I leaned back in my chair and waited. Natalie grabbed the folder like she was expecting flimsy excuses or a half-hearted apology letter. What she got instead was a stack of labeled documents, color-coded tabs, and USB drives in numbered sleeves. The first page was a printed email, her email, dated 2 years ago. Subject line, "Help me cover this." Her expression shifted from smug to pale in a heartbeat. "What the hell is this?" she muttered, flipping pages. Joel leaned over to read. "Wait, Natalie, this is your work email." She slammed the folder shut. "This is a joke." I leaned forward, calm as ever. "Keep going, unless you want me to read it out loud." Joel pried the folder back open and started reading, slower this time. The silence in the room was thick, brittle. There were screenshots of texts, Natalie talking trash about our parents while pretending to be their savior, spreadsheets showing tens of thousands of dollars I had paid for Dad's medical treatments, while Natalie claimed to be footing the bill. And then came the hotel receipts. Joel's voice cracked. "Santa Monica? We were supposed to be in Napa that weekend." Natalie's lip trembled. "That's fake." "No, it's not," I said. "Page 37 includes the credit card charge with your name on it. Room service. Champagne for 2. Want me to keep going?" Joel's hands were shaking. Then Aunt Sandra pulled a paper from the stack and gasped. This is from my house." It was a photo of Natalie rifling through Sandra's medicine cabinet, caught on a security cam she apparently didn't know existed. She had taken pills, cash, even a pair of earrings Sandra thought she lost. I turned to the rest of them. "Still want to vote?" My father finally spoke. "Son, what is all this?" "Truth," I said. "Every lie, every manipulation, every time I paid someone else's debt while getting blamed for being selfish. It's all in there, with receipts." My mother looked down. She couldn't meet my eyes. Joel closed the folder and stood up, not saying a word to Natalie as he walked out the front door. Natalie exploded. "You vindictive little worm." "You've been spying on me?" "I've been documenting," I corrected her. "You wanted a family tribunal. I brought evidence." The room buzzed with shifting alliances, stolen glances. The walls of denial were crumbling fast. I stood slowly, collecting the folder. "Your little show is over." No one stopped me. I didn't go home right away. Instead, I drove aimlessly for hours, through neighborhoods where the lights twinkled behind closed curtains, where families were probably laughing, drinking wine, pretending life was simple. But mine had never been simple, and I needed to say it out loud, even if only to myself. For most of my life, I had played the quiet role, the helper, the fixer, the one who sent money without asking questions, the one who drove Dad to his appointments, who stayed late fixing Mom's sink, who babysat Joel and Natalie's kids without thanks. The thankless son, the backup plan. I'd always thought it was love, that you prove you belong by being useful. The first time Natalie asked me for money, it was for a car repair. I didn't even hesitate. She was crying on the phone, said Joel would leave her if she didn't get her life together. I wired her $2,000 the next morning. She never fixed the car. She bought a designer bag. After that came the late-night calls from Mom, her voice always urgent. "Just until Friday, honey. Dad's insurance lapsed. We're behind on the mortgage. You're the only one who understands." I always said yes. I always sent it, and it added up. I went back and counted every cent before Thanksgiving. 5 years, nearly $78,000. Some months more than my rent. I'd never once been late on their behalf, and never once had they asked how I was doing. And it wasn't just money. It was time. It was my energy. It was sitting through family dinners where they laughed at my singlehood, teased me for not having real responsibilities, while I sat there knowing I had just drained my savings to keep their lights on. It was Natalie mocking me for still renting, Joel joking that I'd die alone, my mom telling me I should be more like Natalie, more confident, more successful, after I just paid Natalie's overdraft fee. But the shift happened slowly. A year ago, maybe more. I stopped feeling honored to help. I started feeling used. I began keeping track. Dates, amounts, texts, phone calls. I didn't know what I'd do with it at first. Maybe I just needed proof that I wasn't crazy, that this wasn't love. It was exploitation dressed up as family loyalty. That folder wasn't revenge. It was reality, unfiltered. People don't want to believe the worst about the ones they love, so they make you doubt yourself. They call you sensitive, dramatic, ungrateful. But I wasn't imagining it. I was documenting it, and now they couldn't deny it anymore. The next morning, my phone started vibrating before sunrise. Missed calls, voicemails, a dozen texts from Joel. The last one just said, "We need to talk, now." I met him at a coffee shop by his office. He looked 10 years older than he had the day before, hair uncombed, eyes sunken. He didn't even sit down before asking, "How long?" I knew what he meant. "She's been lying for years," I said. "That weekend in Santa Monica? Not the first." He rubbed his face with both hands. "You should have told me." "I tried, but you always believed her, even when it didn't add up." He didn't argue. He just sat down, quietly crushed. I left him there, staring into a black coffee that had gone cold. That afternoon, Natalie went nuclear. She blew up the family group chat with rants about how I had hacked her accounts, stalked her, violated her privacy. Joel left the group without saying a word. Then the spin started. My mother called me crying. "She's just upset. You embarrassed her. She didn't mean to..." She stole from you, I interrupted. She lied to you for years. She's still your sister, and you're still pretending that means something. It was like I had cursed. The line went silent. And then, click. That evening, I returned to the house. Not to talk, to finish it. They were all there. Mom, Dad, Natalie, even Aunt Sandra, this time sober and glaring at Natalie like she didn't recognize her anymore. I walked in, placed another envelope on the table. Natalie scoffed. What now, a subpoena? No, I said. This one's simpler. Inside were copies of every legal form I'd just filed. Power of attorney, revoked. Financial co-signing, terminated. Emergency contact, removed. You don't get to use me anymore, I said. My mother reached for my hand, tears in her eyes. Daniel, please, we're still a family. No, I said gently. You voted. Natalie crossed her arms, still sneering. You're just bitter. That's what this is. You're pathetic. I turned to her one last time. You think I'm doing this because I'm angry? I'm not. I'm doing this because I finally stopped being afraid of losing people who never valued me. No yelling, no slamming doors. I just turned and walked out, and no one followed me. The next day, I went to the bank and closed the joint account I'd once opened for emergencies. It had been drained for years, of course, usually by Natalie or Mom, but still linked to my name. Gone. Then I canceled the auto payments I'd set up for my dad's prescriptions and made one final transfer of $3.14 to Natalie with the memo line, "Here's your share." It was petty, but it felt right. I mailed a copy of the legal revocation documents to each of them. I didn't trust anyone in that house to pass along the truth. Natalie would probably have shredded it and said I disappeared without a word. I wanted it official. On Friday, I walked to my apartment door and found a grocery bag sitting on the doormat. Inside were old birthday cards I'd given to Mom over the years, some framed photos, a ceramic mug I made in 3rd grade. No note, just discarded history. I stood in the hallway, holding that bag, and realized something awful and liberating at the same time. They weren't even trying to fix it. They were trying to erase me. So I let them. I didn't respond. I didn't reach out. I didn't return the family group chat when Joel quietly restarted it without me. I was done. The final line was crossed when my mother left a voicemail 2 weeks later. Daniel, your father had a bad fall. We need someone to drive him to his appointments. I know you're angry, but this is what family does. I didn't answer. I didn't call back. I just listened to it once and deleted it. I wasn't their emergency contact anymore. That was official. That was legal. That was the boundary they never thought I'd actually enforce. For the first time in my adult life, I was no one's backup plan, no one's silent benefactor, no one's punching bag in a joking kind of way. I was just Daniel, and I was free. December rolled in with icy rain and silence. No one came knocking, no tearful apologies. Just a slow, calculated re-entry, text by text, drip by drip. The first was from Mom. I put up the tree today. It doesn't feel right without you. Then Natalie chimed in days later. Still planning to be selfish for Christmas, or should we save you a seat? I didn't respond, but it chipped at me more than I expected. I sat on the floor of my quiet apartment and stared at my phone like it was a bomb. It wasn't guilt. Not really. It was muscle memory. Conditioning. You're supposed to forgive. You're supposed to come back. That's how this dance always went. Then came the real ask. Joel. Hey, man. Don't want to get in the middle, but Dad's got that MRI next week. He's not doing great. Mom's freaking out. Just thought you should know. Translation. We need your time, your money, your guilt. Nothing had changed. They didn't miss me. They missed my usefulness. Even the Christmas card Natalie sent to my office was drenched in manipulation. A happy family photo with her kids holding signs, "We miss Uncle Daniel." Inside, she'd scribbled, "No one's perfect. Let's be adults." Like I'd thrown a tantrum. Like they hadn't orchestrated a mock vote to exile me from my own bloodline. What got me most was the letter that came right after New Year's. Handwritten. My mother's cursive. "I don't know what's gotten into you. You were always the good one. Always dependable. I hope you come back to us. Your father still prays for you. We are still your family." No apology. No acknowledgement. Just another attempt to pull me back into the role I never applied for. I folded the letter once, neatly, and dropped it into the trash. The silence afterward was louder than I expected, and somehow it was beautiful. I made pancakes at 2 a.m. I slept in on Sundays. I read books without checking my phone, wondering what crisis was waiting for me. I was no longer their Daniel. And in that stillness, I met mine for the first time. It's been 7 months. I live in a different city now. Smaller, slower, quieter. I got a new job, still in finance, but no longer in the pressure cooker I used to thrive in for the wrong reasons. Now, my days end before dark, and my weekends are actually mine. I started painting again. Nothing special, just shapes, colors, textures. Things I used to do in college before everything became about responsibility. I even joined a community class. No one here knows about my family. No one asks. And I don't offer. I still think about them sometimes, usually around dinner time. It's like a phantom limb. The urge to check my phone, to anticipate disaster. But it passes faster now. I light a candle. I eat in peace. Last week I got one last letter. My mom's handwriting on the envelope. Inside, a single sheet of paper. "We are still your family. You don't get to erase blood. This silence of yours is cruel. One day, you'll regret it." Still no apology, no responsibility. Just a final attempt to guilt me back into servitude. But as I stood in my kitchen, letter trembling slightly in my hand, I realized something for the first time. I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, not even fear. Just silence. I folded it, slowly, and dropped it in the same drawer where I keep expired coupons and warranty slips. Then I opened my window and let the spring air roll in. Sweet, green, alive. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need an apology. I didn't need to prove anything to anyone anymore. They had tried to vote me out of my own bloodline. So I returned the favor, quietly, completely. And for once, I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Alone, but not lonely. Free, not fleeing. Peaceful, not passive. Not a son, not a brother, not a backup. Just me. And that, finally, was enough.